All right, hello listeners. My name is Dion Sherry, and I'm going to be the host for a small little YouTube segment that I am performing for Five Performance. Five Performance is a strength related athletic performance company that helps improve athletes in all different facets, whether that's strength, speed, power. It goes into all different things, mindset, and tangibles. And I think it's really important to kind of break down some of the stuff that we actually incorporate in our training sessions. So I work under a man named Ted Borgerding, and he is a strength coach with 20 plus years of experience and has worked with so many different athletes across so many different sports. So the goal with this YouTube segment is to funnel and create a diverse YouTube breakdown of some of the different training that we actually incorporate with our athletes. The first thing I wanted to look at is something that we do in our speed and agility sessions, which is drop step positioning. This is something that benefits many different athletes from many different sports. This is great for tennis players, basketball players, football players, baseball. A lot of different athletes down the line can benefit from this. So the reason why we drill reactive drop step positioning is so that when the athlete is actually performing in their sport, they're not thinking about it. They're able to just react and do it with a maximum amount of efficiency. So the goal when we drill this is to get the athletes in a athletic, strong position where they're able to create and get up to their top speed as quick as possible. So this is great for a tennis athlete if they're having to get to a drop shot that their opponent just snuck in, or if a baseball athlete's trying to make a play on a weak fly ball and they're having to make a sliding or diving catch, they're able to drop in this position and get forward in a linear fashion as quick as possible. So we'll take a look at one of our drills that we actually used to practice this.
Jump! Get the arms in the right spot. Get the arms in the right spot. Your chest should be out over your knee. If your back leg is too far back, you're not going to get any push off of it.
Okay, so what we saw from the drill there was working on the reactive drop step positioning. So on a certain cue, meaning go or drop in this scenario, the athletes then drop into their drop step positioning. Now, when we get into the specifics of it, sometimes we drill the left foot and we drill the right foot, because sometimes you never know in what position you could be moving, which foot actually needs to be in position to create horizontal force production to then create acceleration in the direction that we want to go. Now, there's certain things we look for when drilling this position. This is going to be chest out over the knee, the back foot not being too far back, and the arms being in the position needed to actually help and aid in sprinting. So with the chest being out over the knee, what we're looking for is the creation of adequate lean. We need that lean to be in the direction that we're going. So when we go to accelerate and create the force, we have more momentum in the direction that we want to be moving. It's going to be harder to create force if we're so far back and too far on the back foot. Okay, it's going to be a lot harder. And if you have someone who has the proper form, they're going to already be half a step or a full step ahead. Now, another thing too that we really focus on is creating adequate depth and the lean, which I kind of spoke about. So when we want athletes in this strong position, the ultimate goal that we want is for the athlete to explode and get into their speed through acceleration as quickly as they can. That's why we drill and practice this. We want to drop to a good depth. I'd like to say a perfect depth, but perfect is difficult to maintain at a consistent rate. But we want them to snap down into a good depth in order to create a better environment for the athlete to get forward. Okay. Now, when we drop lower, what we want to do is drop our center of gravity. Okay. And by leaning forward, the ultimate goal is the creation of horizontal force production, which then can lead into better acceleration, and then we can get into better top speed from that position. So that's ultimately the goal and the things we look for when drilling this position. And hopefully, like I said, the more we do this over and over and over, the athlete creates more muscle memory, which can then relate and perfectly correlate to their sport. Okay, now that I've looked at the breakdown of our drop step positioning and how it relates to sport and why it's important to drill it, let's take a look at expert Coach Ted, the head strength coach of 5 Performance, explain a portion of the drill.
When I say go, you're going to drop one foot, go forward with the other foot and sprint. But this time, if you are watching, I want you to tell them where their feet are in relation to the line. Because a lot of times what will happen is you're balanced and your drop step and sprint could look like this, right? Big step back, short step forward. Where's all my weight? Backwards. I'm not accelerating, right? Kingston and I may be the exact same speed. I may be even a little faster than him, but if I'm like this and he's like this and we're only going 10 yards, he's getting there before I am, okay? So you got to make sure you understand that when we do this, the goal is drop and lean and make sure we come out of that sprint clean, all right? Back to your spots. Let's give each other feedback this time.
All right, thank you, Coach Ted. So the cool thing that, is neat for this drill is that it's something that you can always work on and always come back to. And it's not that difficult to drill, but the implication that it has for sports, for athletes, can actually be really detrimental. So some key things that we looked at was when we're snapping down into this position, there's certain things we need to look at from a strength coach perspective or just a coach perspective. This is creating adequate lean so we can have momentum and weight in the direction in which we want to sprint. Okay, we want to have good depth, which is going to allow us to create that horizontal force production, which is hopefully going to get us to that acceleration, which is hopefully going to get us to a better top speed at a quicker rate. Now, we also don't want to be too low because then it's too difficult to come out of that position with efficiency. And then we want to have the right amount of weight distribution towards the front leg, not too much on the back leg from what we saw before, because once you try to go and there's too much weight on the back foot, we get stuck in the weight shifting back to get us back forward, which already puts us a half step or a full step behind. So for those who tuned in, all the listeners, I really hope you guys appreciated and enjoyed this video. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next coming future of these videos. Thank you.